Welcome to the Film Angle, or should I say Ghibli Angle, the series where I introduce Alex to the wonderful world of Studio Ghibli and the creative genius of Hayao Miyazaki. This week, we're diving deep into Kiki's delivery service. I'm Kris.
And I'm Alex.
Alex, are you sick of flying yet? I know you are because you told me.
There's so much flying in these films. There's planes everywhere. Things that aren't meant to be planes that can fly. Everything flies.
He's delirious. He's dying here.
He loves flying. Find a new angle, man. So much flying.
We get it. Your dad was an engineer. So Kiki's delivery service, unfortunately, you're not going to get any respite. And I'm going to tell you, I don't think there's any Ghibli film
That doesn't have flying.
Maybe there's a Takahata one, but certainly not a Miyazaki. You better start liking it. But they're so beautiful. The scenes of them flying are so beautiful. And Kiki's
It's
just the
true.
same. They're joyful.
And I only tease because actually the flying scenes in this film are probably some of the best we've seen.
Wow.
In the Ghibli films so far, right?
Yes. Because of the sense of world building that they usually are used for, they're really tied to geography. Before we get into Alex, I love the sense of place of this film. You can tell that Miyazaki is borrowing from like every single European city that ever existed. I love that it's almost this sort of, it's this fantasy, it's a fictional setting world that we're in this film. It's sort of semi-rooted into sort of into reality that we know. There's like cars from the 1940s, but some people are dressed like they're from the 80s. There's like European-esque flags that aren't real around the time.
Yes.
It looks a bit like Stockholm at times.
Yeah, I thought very Italian looking, but then I realized that
there's that too. Yeah,
didn't Miyazaki take everybody who was working on the film to Sweden? Is that right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. I forget the city exactly that it's based on, but I feel like even though if you search it and it comes up like, oh, that's based on this city, it really does. For anybody that lives in Europe, it does kind of feel like 10 different places, but it's so beautifully integrated together that I love this little space. It's kind of like being on holiday watching this movie a little bit.
Yes, yeah, and I know he's been quite European in some of the worlds that he's built so far. And some of the characters and all that kind of stuff. But this one really is probably like we were flying over, I don't know, to like parts of it look like Italy, parts of it look like the German countryside and stuff like that. Like,
but it's also very seasidey as well.
Yeah, it does have that. Oh,
it's kind of like the perfect place.
It's a really cozy. Like this is the first one where, because you've always mentioned that these films are really cozy.
Yeah.
And this is the one where I was like, yeah, I can see what you're saying. Like, give me some nice music, have Kiki flying around on a broomstick above some like really nice picturesque European cities and villages and seasides and stuff like that. Like, yeah, I could just sit there and watch that, like lo-fi or something. You know what I mean?
Yes, and also there's a lot of bread. And Alex, you like bread.
I love bread.
Kind of a bread guy.
I'm a bread guy, big bread guy, and it shows.
You're like the husband that owns co-owns the bakery, aren't you? Yeah, just carrying bags of wheat all day.
Yeah.
So Kiki's delivery service is the story of a young girl who is coming of age. She's sort of on the cusp. I think she's 13 in this movie. 13 or 14, I forget. I watched it the other day again for the 10th time. Always forget if she's 13 or 14, but she's one of those. Her and her best friend is a black cat called Gigi that also talks to her, and she has these conversations with Gigi all the time. Gigi's a little bit sassy.
Yeah.
And she is about to disembark from home. Her mother is also a witch. Faber's not. Faber's just like a normal guy.
Yeah.
He's just like there's a lot of these like Miyazaki dads that you're probably starting to get they're very similar. They're all very like very nice dorky dudes.
Yeah,
Um,
you don't get a lot of the dad in this one though. I did feel sorry for him though because he
he wanted
comes
to go
home
camping.
and he's like, "Oh, we're off on the camping trip," and she's like, "No, I've decided now. I'm leaving. I'm leaving home and I'm becoming an adult." And they're all like, "Oh, well, okay."
Yeah, it did look like there was a lot of packing that went into that.
I know. I felt so sorry for the dad in that moment. I was like, "No, you know, no, you know, go on a
Yeah.
camping trip."
Okay, maybe that is the most Alex character in this movie. So yeah, she's about to disembark home. It's the sort of the rite of passage for any young witch her age is that they go away for a while and they randomly go flying into the ether and try to find a village, a town, a city, anywhere that will take them has a vacancy of for a witch, and she gets a job at a bakery. Delivering things to people all across the city, and she learns a lot about herself on the way and other people. So this is a story. This is a coming of age story through and through, and Kiki learns a lot of stuff on the way.
She gets like a big superhero moment as well. I feel like there was a lot of Spider-Man 2 in this film.
Yeah, but with any bad guys.
Without any bad guys.
Or
but she loses her powers due to just like not feeling it.
Yes.
You know?
Okay. Yeah. Duh. Yeah. That's the obvious one.
And then obviously when
she says
somebody
back.
she cares about is in peril, she can regain the strength and has her superhero moment, right? Maybe I'm just too much of a superhero guy, but I was like, this is like Spider-Man 2.
I have a different. Yes, I have a slightly extra look on that choice that the film makes to make her powerless at that point of the movie.
Okay.
But like
maybe we're jumping too far ahead. Is that what you're trying to say?
That I think we are jumping too far ahead. But like this movie is mostly vibes. Anybody who hasn't seen it, it is mostly vibes. But I do feel like there is a lot of life lessons that are perfect. I think if you have a child that's aged Kiki's age, show them this movie because, I feel like I needed this movie at that age. That is a sort of maturity to it. The movie, especially one of the biggest things that really stuck with me was learning to deal with disappointment and that the world is not always fair, even though you're as nice as you're being, as well-intentioned as you're being, doesn't mean that you're always going to get something back. And it's how you deal with that and move forward is kind of what makes you a more steely and resilient person going into adulthood.
Very nicely put.
I'm talking about there's this moment where it's all very exciting for Kiki. All of a sudden, the woman at the bakery who she helps one day gives her room and board. It's all going great. She's like, "Oh, you're really good." Like she delivered something. So we're okay. Maybe we'll open a little business for you. You got a broomstick. It's free for you to travel around the city. You can do it fast. Why not make a business out of it? And she opens the shop, and we all think, everything's been nice so far. And then suddenly there's no traffic. She's sitting in the bakery, and nothing's happening. And the naivety that everything was going to work out for her. And then suddenly she gets this big commission where I'm jumping another commission, but she gets a commission to deliver a pie. A grandmother wants to deliver a pie to her niece for her granddaughter for her birthday party. Kiki goes there. The oven's failed, so they haven't. She can't pick up the pie, but then she offers to help out. Use their own fire oven that hasn't been used in years. She spends the whole day there, helps the grandmother clean the house, and then brings the pie to the party in the soaking rain. Actually sacrificing, Kiki had to go to a party that night, and she sacrificed her time to go to that.
Yeah.
She goes to the little girl's house and delivers the fish pie, and the girl just turns her nose up and says, "Oh, grandma, and these lame ass pies," basically, and slams the door in Kiki's face. And sad music comes on, and Kiki crawls into bed and fails to leave her bed for a couple of days. And yeah, it's kind of sad.
It is.
Yeah, so it's like, it's crazy because I feel like Kiki ends up overcoming this later on. And I feel like I can still learn from Kiki because I watched this movie and I'm like, damn, like, yeah, I would crawl under a bed for probably 2 weeks if that happened to me. But no, it's really good. There's loads of these little life lessons throughout the film. There is that part that you alluded to, Alex, that she suddenly loses her powers one day.
Yes.
And probably the more upsetting part is that she loses her ability to talk to her cat Gigi
I
at all.
know, that was sad.
So
I didn't realize how kind of intrinsically linked to her witchness Gigi was because of how many magical creatures just exist in Ghibli world anyway, you know what I mean?
It's crazy. The last time I had watched this film actually was the dubbed version. Gigi is voiced by Phil Hartman from The Simpsons in that version, and he's actually quite a lot of fun. And Kirsten Dunst voices Kiki in that version too. It is a fun version, but in this version, Alex, do you remember at the end of the movie that Kiki has her superhero moment, like you said?
My favorite moment of the film. And doesn't she grab the broomstick and says something like "fly" or something like that?
Yeah, and it like goes.
Yeah,
it's
hair goes up. She flies through that like little alleyway section of like shops.
Yeah.
Oh, goosebumps.
Cool.
Great moment. Love that moment.
Big set piece with the blimp and everything. But there's at the end, Gigi still is meowing, even though she has her powers back.
Oh,
that's the one thing.
True. That's so true.
And I think it threw me this time. And really hit me this time because the last time I had watched the dubbed version, they made a choice in the Disney version to Gigi to have their voice back.
Gotcha.
So Gigi talks at the end of that film, but in this version, not. And I think that's such a key part of the film because I almost see that transition of her not being able to talk to Gigi anymore as her progressing into an early stage of adulthood where she is leaving a previous childish part of her behind. And the fact that it's not just the fact that Gigi doesn't talk anymore, it's the fact that Gigi acts like a cat from now on, like doesn't have anything remotely human about them. So, which is very, very interesting to me. So it almost makes me think, was Gigi ever speaking to begin with? Was this always just a part of Kiki, and how she coped with the world was that she could speak to this cat, which was just an alter ego of her bad side of her head? I always think that.
That's so true. That's so true.
And it kind of breaks my heart.
That's so true.
Just let the cat talk.
You're like, I prefer the Disney version.
Well, that's exactly it. Like, if this movie was even originally a concept by Disney, they would have done that anyway. That would have just been the movie. And that's why it's good. Like, that's Miyazaki for me. I think this is why this is one of my favorite Miyazaki movies. It's because I think it perfectly captures the optimistic, sort of childish melancholia of just growing up, and like, you know, there has to be bad for there to be good. There needs to be something sacrificed for you to be able to progress in a positive way in your future. You know, that life is not going to just come to you. It might seem that it comes to you. Because I felt like that as a child. Did you feel like that whenever we all had this feeling that we were the main character of our stories when we were growing up?
I still did.
Well, yeah, you still are. I would disagree. I've seen your storyline, and I think you're a side character in your own story, buddy. I'm really sorry.
Oh God!
Everybody's been saying it, but we all do think that we're the main character, and we all think that things are just going to happen to us. Like it's a movie, everyone's going to be wonderful to us our whole life. We're going to be successful without really needing to try. And I think this movie is a perfect film for any teenager who really thinks that he really doesn't know where their life is going. So yeah, it's a warm hug. It's cozy. Like I said, you could watch this with a hot chicken soup on your deathbed while you're being really sick one day, and it'll probably pick you up. But it's so disarmingly minimal, the movie, that you think
Uh,
that it's almost like worth looking past. But there's so much little nuance and a lot of detail to be found there if you're looking for it.
I also another thing I found really nice about the film as well is that it felt like a film that was about the power of female friendships.
Wow, yeah, fair.
And obviously, I'm not a woman, so maybe I'm wrong in this feeling. Somebody else could tell me if not. But it did feel quite important, the fact that the bakery owner is this lovely pregnant lady who has no second thought to give Kiki a chance.
She's awesome. She's no ulterior motive. No,
she's brilliant. You know, her best clients are the two elderly women who she bends over backwards for, and they come back into the pot later on. Like, you know, such a like close kind of, because I guess it's not a friend. Oh, I guess it is a friendship by the end, but there's a close friendship there. When Kiki loses her powers, it's the lady from the woods who a character who she came into an encounter with on her first delivery.
Oh, she's cool too. Yeah,
who kind of helps her kind of like regain some of that balance again. And I liked that. And I think, you know, she writes the letter to her mum at the end rather than her dad. You know, the dad's not a bad guy, obviously. But if out of the two parents, the one we see more of is her mum. But
yes.
Maybe there's something to do with the kind of witchhood thing there.
She would have went through the exact same thing at her age.
Yeah. Exactly. So I thought that was quite a special part of it as well. It's something that I particularly enjoyed. Though, am I allowed to talk about some things I didn't like?
Yeah, of course you can, buddy.
Cool.
Yeah.
Don't understand.
Just cancel the recording now.
So
go for it.
The two things that kind of like let this down a little bit, like I still really like the film, but I couldn't like fully wrap my head around the witch stuff. I didn't fully understand.
Don't think about it.
Yeah, like the rules of the witch thing of like leaving your home and then starting a business in a town. Like you have to be the only witch of a town, but it doesn't have to be a delivery service, but you just have to be the witch of the town.
Yeah.
I was struggling with some of that. Like I was just like, and I know what you mean. Don't think too hard about it. It doesn't ruin the film, but I just don't understand all the witchness of it. I didn't get it. I couldn't follow that line of world building. It was some of the weaker stuff in terms of world building that I'd seen from Miyazaki.
Sure.
And then
this is based on a book, isn't it? I think. I don't know how close it is.
Yeah,
it
might be. So maybe we can't blame him. But he's made changes before.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I was just sort of thinking out loud. I don't know how, if he sticks to the book or if he deviates from it. I'm not sure. I think people, from what I've read this course, because I haven't read the book, that people say that it's quite close to the book.
Gotcha. And then the other thing was, even though I love the payoff at the end of her rescuing Tombo, like their relationship was not really a big factor in my kind of feelings for the film.
He's enamored with her straight away, isn't he?
Yeah, enamored with her, and I think she could be quite mean to him at times. And obviously, you know, that's just part of the character development and all that kind of stuff. I didn't fully understand what was going on there, and like that relationship between the two of them was just a bit all over the place for me. But I didn't fully connect with that. And then, obviously, Tombo just loves making planes and flying.
Yes.
But like I said, I wouldn't give it up for the payoff at the end. You know what I mean? Like the payoff at the end is so good. I love that. So I like those things. I was just like, I don't like, these feel like slightly weaker elements within this film that just kind of lowered my feelings for it slightly. But overall, love the vibes, love the flying. It was a nice little film.
Well, that's like, I'm happy with that. I can take all of that, Alex, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, like, again, we say this all the time on this segment of the show or this side show that we do, but it is just like your mileage will vary sort of thing. I do believe, like, that's just me. Because I'm quite a video gamey person, I quite like loose world building. I like that bit that I can bring a bit of creativity to something and like fill in the gaps. Not say, sometimes that can be inexcusable and just be an excuse for laziness, but I can see Miyazaki, if you were to be in his mind in the process of drawing these images, I'm sure there was some sort of internal world building logic to this. I think that city is so well realized. I love that space. But yeah, the witch thing makes you like scratch your head a little bit and think, what is that dynamic? Yeah, when did she come home?
How'd you know you're a witch?
Exactly. It's what is it? It's Metachlorians, I think.
It is, however, the film that I would most like to live in out of the Ghibli films so far.
Yeah. Like, I can imagine a good video game where you play as Kiki and have to do deliveries or something. Like some sort of like air version of Crazy Taxi, but more chill and Ghibli-esque.
Yeah. Just flying around, cozy music playing.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's like, it's an ideal, like, even though some things don't go to plan, there is an idealist sort of way to look at the world. And it's such an interesting, what makes him such an interesting artist, Miyazaki, somebody who is a little bit grumpy, a little bit of we later on we'll talk about other themes to do with his life that are kind of laced into his work.
Yeah, why is he so grumpy? Because these films feel like anything but from a grumpy man. I know he has this persona of being a grumpy man.
Well, I think a lot of us do. Don't externalize our internal selves. I think we're afraid to kind of, some people can only express it through that sort of medium. He also, you'll kind of discover later on, it's kind of inbuilt into some of the DNA of his later movies, is that he was also an absentee father his whole life. But his father was too. So he has a lot of internal guilt about that with his son Goro. He ends up directing some of these Ghibli films that you'll be seeing later on.
Ooh.
And they have a very interesting relationship. So I feel like there's this sort of yearning that Miyazaki wanted to be this sort of person, but there's just something stopping him from being it. So his external persona is a little bit steely, but it's not always like there are some lovely interviews with him, and he does say some, there's some beautiful things that he's said on the record and in interviews. But yeah, sometimes it's like, who's the famous Japanese artist? There's a famous Japanese artist. He's so happy. I forget his name, but he makes like ridiculously dark Geiger-esque material. And it just seems to be that way in art. Like a lot of people, there's sometimes just complete juxtaposition in terms of people's output of art compared to their personas. I can't tell you why.
Yeah, true that.
But it's certainly interesting.
Definitely. I did read that because the previous double bill of the films that we spoke about, so My Neighbor Totoro and Grave of the Fireflies, apparently they did not do so well at the box office. And this was, we wouldn't have had any other Studio Ghibli films after this if this had not been a really well-received film that made a lot of money. This saved Studio Ghibli.
Crazy, isn't it? I mean, it's such a different world that we live in now. Could you imagine if Ghibli had only came about 10 years ago, and then this was the movie that they had to save them? Nobody would turn up in droves to see it nowadays, I don't think.
That's so true.
It's great. Well, there would be a small number of, it'd be like, it's like Flow or any sort of artistic output of a new studio producing an animated film these days. Like, there's a small community that absolutely love it and they get awards, but for this to be a box,
Lin-Manuel Miranda song in it.
It doesn't have a Lin-Manuel Miranda song in it, and it's so heartwarming to know that this would have been a box office sort of sleeper hit in the 80s. So and I'd love to see this in the cinema. That'd be great. That'd be Sunday afternoon. They ever show this in our local cinema? Like, you got a guaranteed ticket right here.
Yeah. It is a really sweet film. Really sweet film.
Oh, I'm glad you liked it.
I definitely think out of all of them, this is maybe the one I'd rewatch.
Interesting.
Despite
even though it's not your favorite,
even though it's not my favorite, I think it has the most rewatchability.
Sure.
Because nobody's chucking Grave of the Fireflies on in a hot second after they've seen it, are they? You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, they're definitely not. I nearly turned that one off because I find it quite difficult.
You're like, I've seen it enough times.
I don't need to
see it again for this stupid podcast.
You got the stupid part right.
But it's not a podcast.
Oh my god, that is deep. Yeah, man. I love Kiki's delivery service, as you may know. I'm glad you got something out of it that you liked as well too, man. It's super enjoyable. Yeah, absolutely. I wish the UK did Ghibli Fest that they do in America every year, that they show every Ghibli film in cinemas again, but we just don't get it over here. It would be a great way for you to see these movies, but hey, we got them at home. We got Ghibli at home.
Netflix Ghibli.
Yes. I will say, anybody listening to this that likes a dubbed version, I wouldn't not recommend it. Don't watch it on Netflix, though, because they make some changes. That's an older version. They make some changes to, especially some musical changes. They add... So Joe Hisashi's score, beautiful in Kiki's delivery service.
Really good.
Very European as well, and it's really part of the enjoyment of the movie. But in the Netflix dubbed version, you will have about 30% extra music that was subcontracted to another composer that's added on, and they also replace one of the cool opening song moments where Kiki's riding her broom for the first time. So some of those really nice, they make the movie a little bit more buying over your head, a little bit more overt. And you're also going to miss some cool moments too. So yeah, watch the subbed if you're on Netflix.
Gotcha. But the Kris and Alex dub does sound cool. That sounds like a cool.
Her
cool
and Phil Hartman are pretty good pairing, and a young Kirsten Dunst is very sweet.
Sounds like a good choice. But yeah, I know what you mean.
If you buy it on Blu-ray, the dubbed is good.
Yeah,
that's the way to watch it.
There you go.
Cool. Right, Alex.
Right.
Right is right, because I've got a new segment for us this week, and it's called Price is Right, Ghibli Edition.
The Ghibli. Okay. That was creative with some of your other names.
Price is Right, Ghibli Edition. Okay, so I had to kind of think around this, because traditionally the Price is Right is played with more than one person, kind of, which kind of makes it difficult. So just like the Price is Right, Alex, you have to get as close to the number as possible without going over.
Okay.
So obviously, with just being one player, I've had to tweak the rules slightly. Basically, 5 points for the correct answer. If you go under or but super close, I'll give you 3. If you're far off, over it all, you get 0 points. So this is going to be Ghibli related Price is Right. These are all going to be number answers for these questions I'm going to give you. Try to get as close as possible.
Okay.
I'll keep a tally. Okay. So, and it's not 10 this time. I know I've been a stickler for hitting 10 questions all the time. People don't care.
No.
So I'm only giving you 7 this time, okay?
Okay, well, you made it an odd number, and that's frustrating me.
Next time I'll make it 7.3 questions.
Oh, God.
Number 1. How many drawings were created for Spirited Away? And funny enough, you can actually see the stack of these drawings displayed in the Ghibli Museum.
How many drawings? Well, like frames of the film, or?
So, pre-production, creative, like everything. Basically, any drawing material that was made for this movie.
Okay.
So concept art as well.
It's got to be a lot then, right?
Yeah.
Can I get like one clue? If I said like, is it over this amount? You could say yes.
Yeah, because this is going to be the hardest one to get on the money. Obviously,
I need a reference. Are we talking like less than $1 million?
Yes.
Okay. 80,000.
Wow, straight in there.
Yeah.
No. So basically, you're under, but not super close. So unfortunately, this is going to be the hardest one, because all the rest of them I've purposely made smaller numbers answers. So this is just, bit of fun. 0 points for you. It's 150,000 drawings were made for Spirited Away, and they are all stacked on top of each other and displayed in Ghibli Museum for you to see.
There you go.
Cool. So moving on to question 2. How long does it take for the tree outside the girl's home in Totoro, My Neighbor Totoro, take to magically grow? So how many? I'm going to tell you, it's seconds, so that you can guess. Okay.
I was about to
How
say
many-
like 3 years.
How many seconds? Did you not watch that scene where the tree is
It's been
like
a
going?
while. I thought these were related to the film we were watching.
Oh. It's like, how many questions can I come up with about broomsticks and bread?
You could have different types of bread.
But you would only get them all right.
So true. I love bread.
How many seconds for that tree to grow in Totoro?
3.
No,
Okay.
not even close. It's 20 seconds.
Shit.
Okay,
Oh.
it is narrowing down. It's going to get a little bit easier.
Okay.
It'll get a little bit easier.
Okay.
How many legs? Number 3. How many legs does the cat bus have? Like, that's doable. I think that's fair.
Okay. 10.
Do you want to go again?
You kidding me?
I'm gonna give you 3 points for that one because you kind of are close.
Okay.
Super close. It is 12. So you're just missing.
That is close.
You were missing one more pair.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
You've always been missing a pair anyway.
Okay.
So, number 4. How many sons does the pirate captain Dola have in the castle in the sky? I think this is if you were
This should be easy.
paying attention sort of thing, isn't it?
It makes me feel like it was 2, but then there's something in me saying 3.
Because there's a lot of guys that look quite similar on that ship.
Yeah. I'm gonna say 3.
Man, you got it right. She has 3 sons. So you get 5 points for that. Go on, I would give you like 500 points if you can tell me the names.
No.
Okay. Well,
I don't remember family names.
Don't tell
I'm
them.
terrible with names.
It's a good thing I don't listen to the podcast. The 3 sons, Alex, were called Louis, Henry, and Charles.
Oh, it's not as Japanese as I thought it was going to be.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. How many disguises does Lupin use in Castle of Cagliostro?
Okay.
I had to work this one out. So for apologies if anybody listening is a big Lupin fan knows this, but I did try my best to kind of work through the film and figure this one out.
I feel like it's not many.
Okay.
Like 3?
That's a 3-pointer.
Is that a good thing?
That means you got close.
Oh, sorry. I forgot.
Very close. Very close, actually. It's 4 disguises that I counted. He uses a prince disguise at one point, a guard disguise, an injured man, and then he is, at one point, disguised as his nemesis, Inspector Zenigata. So,
Gotcha.
3 points for that one, Alex.
Close.
Number 6.
Yeah.
How many energy beams? You'll like this one. I did this one just for you, actually. How many energy beams does the unborn god warrior fire before disintegrating in Nausicaa? You like that guy, remember him?
I like him.
He melted? He melted?
Yeah. 1. Sorry.
Yes, Alex, he did. Wah.
I feel like it wasn't many.
He did. They definitely brought him out too early, didn't they?
Like 2?
Correct.
Yeah.
5
All
points.
the way correct.
Yeah.
I really like Nausicaa. I honestly really
That's your favorite, right?
Yeah, really started on a high note.
Basically, if it's as close to Dune or Star Wars, it's probably going to be your favorite, right?
I liked it because it was like Frozen 2.
Oh yeah, which you said you liked because it was like Star Wars.
That's another podcast.
I'm going to tell. Have we talked about the story of you coming into work one day and saying, "Guys, you have to see Cars 3"?
I think we spoke about that on the Cineboys podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we did. So if anybody wants to go
put a line into that.
wax lyrical about Cars 3, which
yes.
I haven't seen since, but I will uphold that it is a very good film.
Just too scared to go back to it.
I'm too scared to say it's a 5-star masterpiece, but at the time, yes, I thought it was really good. All right.
Okay. Certainly one of the most beautiful Pixar movies.
Yeah. Not as good as... no, I was about to say not as good as Cars 2, but what I meant was it's a lot better than Cars 2.
Yeah, not
which
better
is
than
awful.
Cars 1.
One of the worst Cars Pixar films.
One of the worst Cars movies. Okay, last question.
Worse than Ford v Ferrari.
Maybe.
Probably.
How much did a Japanese movie ticket, right, this is probably going to be your hardest one. I'm going to try to make it easy for you. How much did a Japanese movie ticket cost when Kiki's Delivery Service was released in 1989? So I got this based on the average ticket price in Japan that year. I had to do some conversion. So don't have to give me it in yen.
Okay.
Because that's too difficult. So just give me in great British pounds, please.
Pounds, not even dollars.
Yep. I'll tell yen for trivia's sake anyway, but
okay.
Give me in pounds.
Pounds. £3.5.
£3.50.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Sorry, I didn't know if you meant like 3.05 pounds.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Sorry. £3.50.
You're like, oh, that's actually starting to sound pretty good. I was trying to steer you in the right way, Alex. It was £3.06.
Oh, I think that's pretty.
That's a good guess, actually.
Yeah.
So, which would have been equivalent to 1,161 yen in 1989. Again, I tried my best. Apologies.
How many US dollars?
That. Oh, for the American audience, yeah. So you guys are listening. You guys are listening can go on to UK to US converter, and work out one out for yourselves.
But what about the year?
1989.
Yeah, but just do it right now.
I'm not doing it now. Anyway, that's the quiz, Alex. I think I'm going to give you another 3 points for that one because I think that's a pretty good guess for somebody, that's there's a lot of factors to that question.
Yes. Yeah. Considering I was ready to name all the different types of bread. This has been pretty good.
How many breads can you name right now?
Shit.
Bagel, pizza,
baguette, flat, sourdough, rye, focaccia.
Ooh. Isn't not focaccia? I don't know.
Focaccia. My dad told me it was focaccia. Didn't realise he was winding me up until I said it in front of my gran, and my mum was not happy about that.
That is funny. I like that. Oh, 10 points to Rich for comedy.
You played the long game there.
He did. Payoff was good. Okay. No more naming bread. That is the quiz.
So, Chris, what is the next film I must watch when we meet again to talk the films of Hayao Miyazaki?
Well, unfortunately, you won't be talking about Hayao Miyazaki again. We'll be taking a trip back to director Isao Takahata and his follow-up film Only Yesterday, released in 1991. Potentially, Alex, I'm going to tease you right now, maybe potentially on the right day, my favorite Ghibli film. This is the story of a 27-year-old office worker who travels to the countryside, back to her childhood home after living in Tokyo as an adult. And it brings up questions of what would my life have been like if I had gone a certain path, bringing up old relationships that had been left dormant for many, many years, and other traumas of the past. So another very grown-up film, not very Miyazaki-esque, but yes.
Takahata likes the little darker side, the more downtrodden side by the sounds of things.
Yes, not as sad. It's sad. Not as sad as Grave of the Fireflies.
How many dead, malnourished children do I have to contend with this time?
Just the child abuse this time, I think.
Oh, God.
We're doomed.
We're doomed.
So, yeah, we have that to look forward to next week. I'm really looking forward to, hopefully you guys, listening, whenever we do finally get to talk about this film.
Yeah, not next week.
Not next week.
Not in our lives.
Not in our lives. Hopefully you will have a chance to catch up with this film too. It is also on Netflix, like all the Ghibli films, and definitely worth catching up with. So looking forward to catching up with you on that one, Alex.
Definitely. Very much looking forward to it. That has been the episode for this week. If you've enjoyed it, make sure to leave us a 5-star rating or review. We do really appreciate it. And if you'd like to keep up to date with us, make sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at The Film Angle.
We also have a Film Angle playlist. If you want to listen to what we listen to, you can find that in the show notes. Be sure to catch us next week for more cinematic discussions. Goodbye.
See you later.